Okay, so we're gonna hear from Lauren tonight first. So, Lauren, it's all yours, girl.
Okay, what's up, everyone? My name is Lauren. I'm from Texas. I started Plexus 6 years ago, very skeptically. So, if you were one of those skeptical people, I was literally in your shoes 6 years ago. I wanted nothing to do with Plexus. But my sister, I say she bamboozled me into it because I really didn't know what I was getting into. But she invited me to lunch one day and she was like, I think you need this, and this is why I think you need it. And so I just joined. And that's where my Plexus journey started. So when I was about 15 years old, I experienced blood sugar crashes, like horrible blood sugar crashes. I was always very active. I always ran cross country, did track, played basketball, all the things, lifted weights. And I was on a run one day and I passed out. Literally when I ended up like finished my run, and that was like my very first experience with a blood sugar crash. And it happened all the time until I found Plexus. Like literally every single day I was passing out due to a blood sugar crash. And so for I don't know, the past 15 years, I've been having to monitor that. I never went to the doctor. I'm not like a doctor kind of person. I would just eat meals every 3 hours to make sure that I wasn't passing out. But when I was 18, I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which made sense with the whole blood sugar issues. I found out I was insulin resistant. And so I had a whole like host of issues that came with PCOS, just irregular periods, weight gain. I was always, again, my blood sugar was just always up and down. Every time I ate a meal within, 30 minutes or an hour, like I was just tired, very, very tired. And so I dealt with a ton of fatigue. I was always relying on coffee and energy drinks to get me through the day. And even before working out, like I relied on pre-workout, like after work, I had to have pre-workout to go work out. But again, I was always very active in the gym. I meal prepped. I ate all the right foods. I took all the vitamins. But I was extremely like unhealthy. My body was just like fighting against me. It was not working with me at all. I struggled really hard to lose weight and keep weight off. Even with meal prepping, like when I say meal prepping, like I was eating clean chicken, like no dips, no sauces. It was brown rice, broccoli, and chicken, egg whites, tilapia, asparagus, like the literal worst tasting food ever. But if I went out of like my normal meal prep, like I felt like hot dog crap the next day. So that was my life for a very long time, about 10 years to be exact. And when I found Plexus, I wasn't really expecting anything from it because again, I was doing the right things. I was drinking the water, I was taking the vitamins, I was working out, doing meal prep. And so I really didn't think, anything could really help me other than what I was already doing. But within the first week of taking Plexus, and I just started with the pink drink. I don't know if you've seen your friend post about it or not, but that's what I started with the very first week was the pink drink. And I went an entire week without passing out. Like, and that was huge for me because again, I was passing out every single day due to blood sugar crashes if I wasn't monitoring, my food intake. So to go an entire week without passing out was really cool. I never got like the shaky hands, the sweaty feelings, like the tunnel vision, the fuzzy hearing, like that was a normal thing for me every single day. And so to go an entire week without having that was really cool. So I kept taking Plexus and I'm like, I wonder what else they have to offer. So I started taking the probiotics and I started taking the multivitamins and I started taking just like all these different things. And within like a week or 2 weeks, like I was already sleeping better. My clothes were fitting better. I was not bloated. I used to be bloated all the time. Like I would eat an apple or a cucumber or have hummus and I would just bloat. Like everything triggered my gut. And again, like I relied on drinking tons of coffee, eating all the vegetables to use the restroom the next day. And I noticed using the restroom was a whole lot easier. I'm like, this is really cool. This is very normal and this is very cool. I like feeling really good. I like eliminating. I like not being bloated. And so I was just really pumped about everything Plexus was doing for me. And I was sleeping, I was dreaming, like all the good things were happening. And I think it was like within 2 or 3 months, like I started losing weight and I was not trying. I looked like I had lost about 15 or 20 pounds. And I probably at that point only lost like 2 or 3 pounds at this point. But yeah, I was losing weight without trying. I was put on birth control when I was like 18 for my periods just to have regular cycles. And for the past 6 years, I've been off completely of birth control because Plexus has healed my internal, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. So no more birth control, and I have periods on time every single month. They're normal, they're regular. I don't cramp like I used to. I hardly can even tell they're coming because I don't have like all the symptoms like I used to. So yeah, I've been taking Plexus for 6 years, and it has completely changed my life. I no longer pass out. I don't have period issues. I've lost 20 pounds. I've been able to keep it off. I sleep great. I don't bloat. Just like all the positive things, I have it. So that's my story. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. Let me know. And the next person we're hearing from is Kate.
I love that. I love hearing your story, Lauren. It's so cool. Yeah, my name is Kate Stroop. I am 21 years old and I'm a senior in college right now. I say that because when I first started Plexus, I was going to my freshman year of college. So I was 18 years old, and I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing. I honestly thought I'd get my money back. So my friend Taylor on here, she is who got me started. You'll hear her story later. But to say that I was skeptical is definitely an understatement. I told her no at least 10 times. I just didn't know what it was. And honestly, I thought that I was already healthy. That was a big, big part of my like hesitation, I guess. I tried things. I kind of grew up in like an almond mom, crunchy-ish household. And so I kind of already felt like okay. There were some things though that were going on that I just kind of thought were normal. Being like a 16, 17, 18-year-old-ish at the time. I just kind of was like, okay, I have to kind of go through these things and get through them and then I'll be past them and be great again. Which is like a terrible mindset. And I had no idea that this was kind of related to gut health. And gut health is honestly something that I never heard of before until Taylor came along and literally changed my life 4 years ago, which is so crazy to say. So I was her nanny the summer of my senior year of high school. And so I was with her like every single day, like every day from like the morning to like the afternoon. And we just got super, super close. And I was kind of a part of her life. And it was just so much fun. And I kind of got to see how Plexus fit into her life, not just hers, but like her husband's and her boys and how she was staying home with her boys. And it was just so, so cool. And growing up, like I said, I kind of grew up around like supplements, like natural things, really good ingredients with my mom and my dad. And so I kind of related to her in that way. Finally, she asked me because I was going to school out of state for my freshman year of college originally. And she was like, okay, like you told me that you're bloated, you're tired, and you have to take a nap. Like you drink Celsius. I did. I drink Celsius and Lonnie New, which I know are so, so bad for you. But honestly, I had to. Like I had to get through the day. I had to figure out something. And so she was like, Kate, just try it. And we talked about it before. I told her no very politely. I talked to my parents and they were hesitant too, but they were like, maybe because they trusted Tara. They knew there was a good family. Like they knew that she was loving it. Um, but I think all around, like the biggest thing for me was I was just skeptical. I didn't want to pay the money for it. I was going to my freshman year, and so I just didn't really have the extra money to spend. I'd saved up all summer for, groceries and rent and stuff like that. And it just scared me. So finally, I was like, okay, well, I trust her. She keeps talking to me about it, so it must be legit. And I'm just gonna try it. And she told me, she was like, if for whatever reason you don't absolutely love it, in 60 days you can get your money back. And that's what sold me. I was like, okay, so what do I have to lose? Like, I'm just gonna give it my best shot, be consistent for 60, 90 days. I'm just gonna do it. And if I really, really, really don't like it, then I'm gonna get my money back. Like, no harm, no foul. So obviously I'm here like 3.5 years later, so I never got my money back, thank goodness, because it has just been the most incredible journey ever. And I started on a very small combo to start with. Right now I take like everything because I'm obsessed with it, but started in a very small combo. And the things that I was struggling with before that I mentioned before that I thought were just normal, a big thing was inflammation for me. I have always grown up with a bunch of like inflammation in my body. It kind of runs in my family, mom and sister, dad, they all have it too. This is so random, but I am such like a ring girl. I wear rings 24/7. And I remember waking up, my rings just wouldn't come off my fingers. Like it was like a constant thing. And they just would stay on my fingers so they wouldn't come off. And it's such a small thing, but I remember I take a product called Ease. I remember when that is never a problem anymore. Like it hasn't, it's just completely changed. A big thing too, as far as inflammation goes, is my cheeks. I used to have very, very like puffy, inflamed cheeks. And I told Taylor that when I first started, I was like, I want you to like help me get my cheeks to not be so inflamed. And that was like one of my biggest goals, which is looking back is so funny. But it really was. It was an insecurity of mine. And I think inflammation was just a big, big thing that I wanted to tackle. And then, of course, energy drinks. I, again, was an Alani Nu Celsius addict. My parents don't even know that because I'd have to hide it from them because they would actually kill me if they knew that. But yeah, there were just so many things that I kind of compromised before Plexus that I just said, okay, like this is gonna be my life. Like I said, I'm, a teenager. I have to get past this stage to kind of feel better eventually. And living that way for so long, I didn't realize at the time, but now as feeling as good as I have been the past 3 years, it has just been the most incredible like shift in my mindset. Because of Plexus, I feel like I have been able to live my life in college just with like a healthier mindset, healthier outlook on what I eat, healthier outlook on going to the gym. Like I just feel good. I feel confident. I feel like I think I should have 3 or 4 years ago. Um, Another really, really cool part of my story, I mentioned before that my parents were very skeptical of this because they are so focused on ingredients and just kind of set in their ways when that comes to that, which I totally understand. The coolest part about it is that my entire family takes Plexus products now. It's a staple in my hometown house that I'm in right now. It's a staple in my college house that I'll go back to after winter break, and it will for sure be a staple in my house when I eventually move out on my own. Like it is just going to be a part of my life forever. And so it started with me being super skeptical, dead set on getting my money back in 60 days. Um, and just very hesitant to being a part of my everyday life. And I think just looking towards the future, this is going to be the most incredible thing to bring into my future family. And I just think that's so, so cool. So that's my story. And I think if I had to give you one piece of advice, it'd be if you're skeptical, I was too, but honestly, what is the worst thing that can happen? And then the flip side, it's like, what's the best thing that can happen? Because that changed my mindset completely. And the best thing that could happen has happened. And I'm sure there's more to come, but these products and this company and this community have changed my life completely. And not just mine, but my friends, my family, my extended family, and it's just been like a whole chain reaction, and I'm so thankful for it. So that is my story, and thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any questions, I'm an open book. I remember I had like a bajillion questions, so I am totally open to any questions if you guys have any.
Thank you so much, Kate. It amazes me how Plexus is literally for everybody, and young, old, little, big, it just doesn't matter. So I love hearing from you, Kate. Okay, so Amy's gonna share her story with us next, and she is a full-time working mama. She's a teacher, so she's got all the stress, and she's got a set of twins and a little girl. So girlfriend's got her hands full. So take it away, Amy.
Well, thank you, Amy. But yeah, like Amy said, I am a teacher. I'm a full-time teacher. I teach fifth grade. And I am a mom of three. They are all 5 years and under. I have a set of twins and then a 5-year-old girl. So yeah, hands are full. I need all the energy I can get. And I literally just have no time to not feel my best. And so I started with these products when I was actually pregnant with the twins. I had kind of been introduced to the products before, just through a friend of mine, and I had ordered them once and then tried them for a couple of weeks and put them in my cabinet and never touched them again, and just kind of forgot about it. And but I was still feeling miserable. I never really thought about it again. I was busy with life. Then I got pregnant with twins. And for the longest time, for as long as I can remember, I always dealt with the worst digestion issues where it didn't matter like where I was, what I would eat. We could never figure out what triggered it, but occasionally I would get the worst stomach pains, to where it would make me have hot flashes. I would occasionally like pass out because the pain was so bad. I would vomit. And I mean, there were a few times that I would even go to the ER just because the pain was so severe. They were never ever really ever able to figure out what was wrong with me. I had an endoscopy done and a colonoscopy done at a really young age. They ended up taking out my gallbladder, hoping that would help. And in the end, it didn't. I was still having these issues. And what really got my attention is when I was pregnant with the twins, I had one of these fainting episodes and we were out in public and I just started feeling terrible. Was having those hot flashes, started having stomach cramps, and I fainted in the middle of a restaurant. And it was humiliating, but then I was also so worried because I was like, there is something seriously wrong. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. The babies were fine. And so I ended up reaching back out to my friend and said, hey, listen, like, I need some help. I'm going to try this again. Like Kate said, what's the worst that can happen? Like, I literally couldn't feel any worse than I did at the time. And so I tried it and I was very consistent with it. My doctor approved it. And I took it the whole time I was pregnant with the twins. I never had another digestion issue, another issue with cramping. I didn't get inflamed. I wasn't swollen. And like I said, I was pregnant with twins. I was able to carry them full term to 38 weeks. And I was also teaching full time. So I taught up until like 2 days before I went in and had my babies at 38 weeks. And when I had my first, I had the worst postpartum anxiety and depression to where my doctor had to put me on a very high dose of anxiety medicine. And so I was really nervous going in to delivery with the twins because I was worried that that was going to come back like double the time, like double as bad as it was with my first. And I didn't deal with any anxiety or depression at all after I had the twins. I was able to keep up with my toddler at the time and take care of newborns. I was still like, I was on maternity leave, but if you're a teacher, you know, you still have to work when you're on maternity leave. So I was still doing all of the things and was able to do all of it without having to feel like I needed a nap during the day or go and run into Allsups and get my normal energy drink. It just all changed for me. I was sleeping better. I wasn't an emotional mess. My husband was probably very pleased with that because I wasn't a psychopath. But it just changed so much for me, especially with my stomach pains, my anxiety, my depression. But then I was also able to bounce back weight-wise and get back to my pre-baby weight pretty quickly. And I just felt so much more like myself than I did the first time I was pregnant and postpartum. And that was just such a blessing and breath of fresh air because postpartum can be very overwhelming. And I just felt so good. And I don't know, I just love it. And so now looking back, I'm mad at myself that I didn't stick with it the first time, but there's a reason for everything. And now I'm a Plexus lifer because it has changed our life in so many ways.
Wow, I didn't know that you dealt with all of that, Amy. That's incredible. And what an amazing testimony. And look at you now, girl. So cool. So, next up, we're going to hear from Taylor, and y'all, she has an absolute heart of gold. Just loves people really well and has so much compassion. And so what she has to say tonight, you need to listen up because she's got a really cool story. You're up, girl.
Okay, that was so sweet. Thank you for saying that. Okay, y'all, I'm just gonna be super honest with you. If you don't know me, I have Invisalign and I took my aligners out for this so I didn't sound like a crazy girl with a lisp, but I've got these attachments on my teeth and they are driving me nuts. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, so let me tell y'all a little bit about my story. So I have done Plexus since 2018. But my story actually starts back in 2008. So I have been a chronic migraine sufferer my entire life. Basically, it feels like from the time that I can remember. Um, and what that looked like for me was like when they would start, y'all, I would have 3, maybe 4 a week. When they would hit me, I would have to crawl on my hands and feet. I could not like walk at all. It felt like somebody was taking a hammer and hammering my eyeballs over and over and over. I would very frequently vomit out of pure pain. Like there was nothing wrong with me. It's just the pain was so severe. I would just, this is kind of gross, but I would like hover over my toilet and just like cry because the pain was so intense. Um, I remember having to like leave school most days because I could not function. Y'all, it was debilitating. It was the worst, probably one of the worst things I've ever gone through. And finally, I was like, Mom, we need to see a doctor. Like something is serious. Like, do I have a brain tumor? Like something is seriously wrong with me. And so we went to the doctor. He did all these tests, all these scans, and he's like, hey, nothing's wrong. I don't know what's causing your migraines. It said, here's 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. Good luck. And I was like, okay. So I took it because I felt awful. But y'all, I was 14 years old at the time. And I just remembered feeling like, one, this is not normal for how young I am. And two, you can't expect me to live on 800 milligrams of ibuprofen for the rest of my life. Like, this is just not sustainable. And I have always kind of had the mindset of like, I just want to know what the problem is. Like, I will, yeah, for real, there goes my liver. Like I have always had the mindset of like, I'll do whatever it takes, but like, I just need the answers, right? And like, nobody could give me answers. I was on the verge of Botox injections. I, at one point, almost lost my job, which I haven't talked about often because I had to miss so much work because I literally could not sit at my desk because I felt like my eyes were just going to like start bleeding. Like, y'all, it was awful. Um, around 2018, I stumbled across Plexus. This was not something I was looking for, not anything I had any intention of taking the products, pursuing the opportunity, nothing. And I'll be honest, my friend Jordan, who's on this call, when she approached me, the whole reason I said no is because my mindset was I've tried everything else in the past. There's no way that these gut health supplements are like going to do a darn thing for me. And the idea, honestly, y'all, if I'm being totally transparent, of something this simple actually helping me, I was like, I did not suffer for 10 years to just be told that gut health was my problem. So I said no for 6 months, but I watched her and watched her and watched her. We became friends, and then I ended up in an event very similar to this one. And I actually heard a girl talk about her struggle with migraines. It was so similar to my story. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like, they're going to give me a 60-day money back guarantee. I've tried everything else. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Um, so I very reluctantly clicked submit and I got my products in the mail. And let me tell y'all what happened. The very first week of taking my products, I went through detox because y'all, for 10 years, I had been filling my body with junk. So there was some pretty massive healing that needed to happen. But then week 2 came around and I had gone an entire 7 days without a migraine. And that had not happened to me in 10 years. So like, trust me when I say I was like knees on the ground praising Jesus. I was like, thank you, Lord. Like, this is great. And so I kept being consistent. And then what I noticed was I was able to get off of all of my allergy meds. Y'all, I am literally allergic to trees, and my husband is a farmer. I live on a farm. So the fact that I could kick my allergy meds, I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then I was able to stop drinking Dr. Pepper every day because when my gut was getting healed, I wasn't craving sugar like I was before. So I wasn't drinking 2 Dr. Peppers a day anymore. And I had a newborn baby at home, and I woke up one morning with a drool stain on my pillow. And I was like, praise God. Like, what is this magic stuff? What is happening to me? And y'all, just trust me when I say that these products have completely, like, I don't like when people say they've given me my life back, but like they have given me my quality of life back. They have allowed me to show up as the mom that I wanted to show up, but I never felt good enough to show up. I was able to come home from work and spend time with my kids and time with my husband and not feel like I just needed to fall asleep on the couch because my head hurt so bad. And so I've been taking Plexus almost 7 years now. And I think the migraines I was talking about, I think I've maybe had 2 of those in the last 7 years. And I was having 3 to 4 a week for 10 years prior to that. So trust me when I say that these products have literally changed my life. But I do actually really want to touch on the opportunity side really quick before we hop off of here, because I did not pursue this gut health thing to share with other people. I was really just trying to get some help with my migraines. But I am a natural sharer of things. If you know me, I'm going to share about my love of non-pharmaceuticals, and I'm going to tell you about Jesus. That's just what it is. That's how I roll. And so when I started to feel better, I knew I had so many people in my life that had seen me struggle for so long that when I started to feel better, they were like, I'm kind of curious. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it. If people want help, great. I'm here. If they don't, that's okay too. And so I started to share, y'all, and I was blown away at the amount of people, some that I knew, some that I didn't, that came out of the woodwork and they were like, "Hey, tell me what's going on here? Like, I'm seeing a difference in you. Can it help me with this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let's figure it out together." And I started to help people get started on their health journey, people like Kate and other people. And this for us has turned into this huge thing to where it actually allowed me to quit my corporate job when I was 24, 25, stay home with my kids. We now put them in a private Christian school and pay for it in cash every month. We built our dream home on a piece of farmland, which where we live is not cheap. We built this custom home in our 20s, which again could not have done because of Plexus. It has just provided us so many opportunities, but the biggest part for us is that we have been able to take our belief in what these products have done for us and pour it into other people and help them and help their families be changed too, which never would have happened if we wouldn't have said that scary yes to me just trying to get my health under control. And so I am so, so grateful that even though I was scared to death, literally scared to death to do this whole Plexus thing, that the Lord nudged me a little bit harder than normal to start this because it has blossomed into something way more than I ever could have imagined. And I, like Amy said, am a Plexus lifer. I will never go back to feeling the way that I felt before. And I'm just so grateful for what this whole thing has done for me and our family and everybody else. It's just been a huge blessing. So that's my story.
You know what amazes me so much is that, I mean, that y'all, this is like 4 of the hundreds of thousands of lives that have been changed. And each one has such a different story. And it blows my mind every time I get on one of these events and I hear these stories. It's just mind boggling. And I was not one who was educated in gut health until Plexus. And so I continue to be blown away. So I hope there was something here today that you could relate to. If not, I hope it at least gave you the opportunity to start thinking of questions that you have for the person who invited you and ask all the questions. One thing I noticed was, these ladies were all skeptics. I was too, and you may be feeling the same way. So just ask all the questions because this could literally change your life. And I hope that you'll, take that next step. So thank you guys so much for being on with us tonight. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas break, and I can't wait to see what this does for you. So thanks again. Y'all have fun.